My name is Max Moluccan, and I'm a rescue. Today, I'd like to share part of my story with you. This is the tale of how I was rescued and came to choose my own forever Hooman to live with. Spoiler alert, my early story isn't a happy one. Hey flockers! Today's video is a little different. I want to tell you about my story. It wasn't always a happy one. I'm a rescue. And it seems fitting that I choose to tell you my story from my patio. A few years ago, I was terrified to be outside. My pet Hooman doesn't know a lot about my early days, but the story is sadly similar to too many rescued parrots today. When I was a baby, much like other cockatoos, I was really cute and really sweet. You couldn't help but fall in love with me, and that's just what happened. The first people met me and brought me home. Life was great for the first while. They doted on me and gave me lots and lots and lots of attention. They adored me, and I was happy. Even though they didn't know a lot about parrots, they spoiled me. They let me get away with lots of stuff and didn't establish any rules or boundaries. It was great. I was the king of the world, and the household worshipped me. Things changed. So many changes. They had a baby. Suddenly, I was no longer the center of their world. Their lives circled around the baby. The baby turned into a toddler. I was ignored and left in a cage. Life was lonely. I wanted to be part of the flock, but the people didn't include me. Like many other parrots, as I grew up, I started to act up a bit. I hit the terrible 2s, the terrible 3s, and the terrible 4s. I was just being a parrot. I hit sexual maturity. I was very frustrated and confused. My flock was ignoring me, and I didn't understand why I was kept locked in my cage. Even the dogs got more attention than I did. I was incredibly angry with the world. I yelled, I bit people. I didn't understand why my people no longer wanted to flock. They put my small cage in the unfinished basement. It was cold, dark, and lonely. My feathers were matted, and I was filthy. I tried to bathe in my water bowl, but it was too small and just made my water taste bad. I learned some new games. I would yell, and the people I lived with would yell back. Their favorite thing to yell was, "Shut up now!" I yelled it right back at them because they obviously were trying to communicate. At least it was attention. Sometimes I would be let outside of my cage, but I was angry. Now the kids were older and the house was full of bustle. I was still being ignored, and the only way I could get attention was by biting, yelling, and destroying things. They really weren't listening to me. I bit the woman whenever I could. I hated women. At least the man would feed me seed and would sometimes pay attention to me. I liked him a lot more, but I was angry. Angry with the basement, angry with the people, angry with my life, angry with the world. One day, when I was 10 years old, they brought a new person into the basement. I'd never seen this stranger before. I yelled at her, but she didn't go away. She stood quietly talking to me. She didn't seem scared of me, but she was a woman. I hated women. She spent some time talking to my people and then went away.
Things got better for a little while. There was more attention. I got let out of the cage. One day I had the opportunity to bite the woman, and I did, as hard as I could. You should have seen the glorious bruise. The people were angry. A short while later, I was put in a carrier and taken to a new place. They told me it was only for a little while. The last thing my person said was, "By the way, he loves men and hates women. Goodbye."
I was left in the house with the woman who'd come to visit me. My cage was in the living room, and there were windows with lots of natural light. The woman gave me lots of food and fresh water. I eyed it warily. She talked to me quietly. I yelled at her. I kept on yelling and yelling and yelling. She wouldn't yell back. Maybe she didn't know the yelling game. There were 2 other birds in the house. I hadn't seen other parrots before. They were weird. They sat with her and had scritchies and seemed strangely happy. I did the only thing I knew to do. I yelled, I screamed, I threw things. The woman spent a lot of time with me. Anytime I was quiet, she gave me attention. It was weird. One day the woman told me I would be staying with her for a little while longer. Apparently the people didn't want me back, and she was going to find me a new home. I was used to not being wanted. One time, the woman let me out of the cage. I knew I was top bird and I tried to bite her. She wasn't scared of me. Suddenly, there was a new pecking order. The woman told me about these weird things called rules. I was shocked to learn about them. Then she told me the rules applied to me. I couldn't believe it. Rules applied to me? Life was a lot different now. I got attention from the Hooman. Every day there was fresh water and food. I even had water softly sprayed on me. It felt really good. She tried to give me some toys, but I didn't know what they were. The woman seemed really kind. She had this silly idea she could find me a new home. I didn't like that idea at all. I didn't need to be adopted. I'd already adopted my brand new pet Hooman. I just had to convince her of that. 14 years later, I'm still living with the flock. My pet Hooman, Tico the Gray, and part-time flock member Tikal the Amazon. There have been changes. I got a brand new cage. I moved into the bird room with the rest of the flock, and we even moved into a new house, but it was okay. I was still with my flock and my very own pet Hooman. It was home. I know that I was a real handful for the first few years I was with my pet Hooman. I was screaming and yelling. I was trying to destroy things. I was afraid of being touched. I was afraid of the entire world. I think at one point she even described me as the Amityville Horror with wings, but it was said with a smile. I really don't know why my pet Hooman ever put up with me, but she saw something in me that I didn't see. Now life is good. I have lots of toys, I get regular scritchies and cuddles. There's all sorts of yummy fruits and vegetables, and I'm part of the flock. I keep on growing and learning new things. A few years ago, I would have been terrified to go outside on a patio, but today I'm a big, brave birdie who enjoys the sunshine. I'm only 24 years old and have a long, good life still to live in my forever home. I would be a really poor ambassador bird if I didn't share an important message with any birdie looking to adopt a parrot. It's not for everyone. On InstaFlock, Facebeak, and Twitter, you see the created side of the flock. So cute, so cuddly, and OMG, I want one is your immediate reaction. Make sure you're prepared to deal with the noise, the mess, the property destruction, and the behavioral problems. There are far too many parrots in bad situations like I was who are just being parrots. Before adopting, stop and think. Think again, think again. Make sure you know what you're getting yourself in for. It's a huge commitment. If you are already living with a parrot and struggling with some of the behaviors, have faith that things can change. I've come a long way to trust the world. It is possible with a lot of work. Beak that subscribe button and join the flock. And while you're here, please watch The Truth About Living with Parrots. It's a must-see if you're thinking of adopting a bird.